I'm not going to argue against self-improvement as a whole in this video because I'm a self-improvement YouTuber myself, and I don't believe that self-improvement in and of itself is a bad thing. But the thing is, most of the self-improvement content available, be it from creators like First Man, like Hamza, like Sneeko, like all these different, YouTubers, most of them are focused on the attainment of external things. Most of them make videos on how to get girls, on how to get money, how to get status, how to get a physically attractive body. All the focus is on getting these other things. It's on getting that person's respect, getting this object, getting that object, getting that person, getting. It's all about external things. And external things are not bad in and of themselves, in the same way that self-improvement is not bad in and of itself. It requires context to be bad. If you have things in your life, but they serve a purpose, but you moderate them, you're aware of their presence, your happiness is not attached to them, then okay, the external things are not necessarily bad. If they're not affecting your life, if you're able to see them for what they are, keep them. But if you are in search of external things and your happiness is dependent on them, like for many of us, our happiness is dependent on whether or not we make money, whether or not we're successful, whether or not we gain the status, whether or not we get the girl. We're focused on these external things to make us happy. And so when things go wrong, or if we don't achieve them, and we come to the realization that, oh shit, I'm still not at 10K a month, even after 5 years of working my ass off, then all of a sudden your mental health goes downhill. All of a sudden, you don't know what to do, you lose clarity, you're not focused, you're gonna start declining in physical health, you start losing the progress that you made. All because things went wrong with the external. The external thing had your happiness, you attached your sense of self and your sense of fulfillment to this other thing, to the attainment and the sustaining of this other thing. And when things go wrong, because they inevitably will, you don't know what to do with yourself. And this is such a common theme throughout history of humans and I don't even mean like great, usually when we speak of history, we're referring to the big events, but I just mean humanity in general, like everyday people like you and me. Since the beginning of civilization, we have always been placing our happiness and our psychological well-being on things that are vain, like that, like money, status, women, fulfilling our carnal desires. We've always done this, and it's never worked. The one thing that we need to be happy is self-mastery. That is the one thing that you must do in order to be satisfied. It's to master yourself. And I mean, that's the goal of self-improvement, is it not? The goal of self-improvement is to overcome your previous self, to overcome your previous habits, and to become somebody new. So self-improvement at its core is about self-mastery, but we've coded it with all this like, oh yeah, let's be productive to make money and to do all this, like all this other vain shit. Self-improvement is about self-mastery. And the one thing that can help us achieve that self-mastery is by controlling one's own mind. And the reason for this is because of the circle of control, which you might have heard of if you've watched a few previous videos of mine, where I've mentioned it here and there. I've given explanations on it before. The circle of control is basically a visual practice, a visualization of what is in your control and what is not in your control. And you can imagine it like this. There is one small circle, right, in the center, of a paper or whatever, and there is a bigger circle right outside of it. And within the smaller circle, there is only one thing that is in your control. There's one thing that you can fully choose, that you have full autonomy and freedom with. And on the outer circle, there's everything else. There's everything that you cannot control, that you cannot fully influence. You may be able to partly influence it, like for example, your physical body. You can partly influence your physical body. You can go to the gym, you can try to put the right food in it. But ultimately, if you fall in the wrong way and you break a hip, or if you just can't take any more exercise and need a rest day, or if whatever happens, you get sick, these things are not in your full control. You can't guarantee that you will never get sick again, which is why we do get sick. It's because we don't have enough power to prevent that fully. With your job, you don't have control over whether your boss fires you or not. That's something that he decides. You don't decide your status, your reputation, the weather, the structure of society, how history is played out, how history will play out. These things, again, even if you can influence them, they're not in your full control. And what the Stoics say about this is that trying to control anything that's in that outer circle will produce unhappiness because you cannot control it. So when your efforts inevitably blow up in your face and you're like, oh shit, I've been trying to change this, but I'm not getting the result I want, then you don't feel fulfilled. You feel directionless. You lose clarity. You lose emotional and mental well-being, mental health. It's just not worth it to try and control these external things when you could be focusing on the smaller circle instead, which would give you a lot more clarity, a lot more freedom, and a lot more health. You would be able to do a lot more if you focus on this, because this means self-development. Over here, you are in full control. And this one thing that's in the smaller circle is your mind. It's your ability to choose your reactions to things, to respond logically. It's your ability to make decisions and calculate and to think things ahead, to pause, to take a break and consider what you're about to do. These abilities, although we take them for granted, they're what make us human. They're what make us intelligent beings capable of building societies, of building all these great things, and also of building these terrible things. By controlling the mind, you are controlling your reactions, your emotions, your response to events. You're controlling your very thoughts. You're controlling what happens in here. And this is the one thing that nothing else can get into. Because if you do more research on Stoicism, if you do more research into yourself, you will find that a lot of the negative emotions you experience, that a lot of these things that are super commonplace, that are negative that we experience basically every day, they are figments of the imagination. They're things that we create for ourselves. And once you realize that you don't have to be irritated with this person, you don't have to be angry, you don't have to be sad. Once you realize that it is in your power to prevent yourself, or not prevent yourself, but to overcome these feelings, then you have ultimate freedom. You are not obligated to do anything that you do not believe is correct. That is the ultimate power of man. When we experience hardship, an animal, when it experiences pain, it has to wince. It has to cry. It has to shell up and run away because it doesn't know any better. It feels pain, and the instinctual response to pain is to get away from it. Only human who is conscious can bear that suffering. It can stand and take the pain or trudge through it. So the power of controlling the mind, if we took time every day to spend at least an hour acting with intention, we would find that we have a lot more freedom than we think we do. We don't utilize this ability. We don't utilize it. I mean, sometimes we do. Sometimes we do act with intention. Sometimes we do take a break and say, okay, how do I want to act today? But Most times this happens on accident. We're not intentionally sitting down and saying, okay, how would I like to respond today? If something bad happens, what would I like my reaction to be? We don't take that level of intention with our lives. And that's why many of us, when issues do arise, like a change in the schedule happens and we have to go work overtime, or when somebody makes fun of us and now everybody, or somebody spreads a rumor of us and everyone's believing it, and now we like have this bullshit story attached to us when people see us. All of a sudden, when those things happen, we're feeling like shit. We're not feeling good. We're like, damn, I can't believe this happened. And we're obsessing over the bad thing that's happening. We want to get away from it. It's annoying us. We start throwing like a hissy fit. But none of that solves the problem. None of that actually it doesn't change the situation. The circle of control, like utilizing the mind, is not about changing your circumstances. It's not about controlling the things around you, but it's controlling your response and reactions to the world. It's saying, okay, I see that it's sunny out. Today's a beautiful day, right? Going outside, having all this rain, having a thunderstorm come by, and not complaining. Simply accepting it and being like, oh damn, it started raining. Oh well, I guess if I had plans for today, I'll just move them to another day. Or maybe I'll still play in the rain. Maybe I just, if my friends are down, then it shouldn't be that big of a deal. That is the power of the mind. You can decide what affects you and what doesn't. External things, when you place your happiness onto them, they take control of you. And that is the biggest difference between the mind and what is not the mind. So for today, instead of labeling things and trying to fix your problem, trying to gain control over it, simply move with the problem. Set aside a few minutes right now to decide how you would like to react to today's challenges. What would you like to be thinking? What would you like to be feeling? What would you like to be doing in response to your problems? Maybe it's just accepting and moving on. Maybe it's analyzing and then thinking about what you can do to stop this problem. Whatever it may be, make sure that you're acting with logic and intention, that it's something you're consciously deciding and not something that you're just doing. Many times, the source of our unhappiness is not only that we attach our happiness to external things, but it's also that we're acting on autopilot. So when problems come up, we don't know how to react to them, and we just go based off our instinct. But we have consciousness. We've overcome our instinct, and we live in a society where instinct is not a viable option. We can't succeed in a complicated network of civilization if we're still relying on instinct, because these things were built using consciousness. So if you just rely on what your feelings tell you to do and say, you'll be doomed. You'll end up fucking yourself over, when if you just acted with intention, you would have been fine. And you would have been a lot happier in the process. So that's your goal for today. For today, simply try to respond with consciousness and intention when something irritates you, when someone irritates you. Respond with understanding, not with emotion. That's going to be all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. Let me know if what philosophy you would like me to cover. That full identity guide, which I put up a poll for a few weeks ago. I still have not forgotten about that. It's just that I need to apply what I've learned. I'm waiting for a specific time period. That's when everything starts. It's something that I'll have to explain within the video itself. But the point is, I still have not forgotten about it. It is going to be made probably around the end of summer. Yeah, probably around like August, around there, maybe a little bit later. So please just keep that in mind. I also have my Medium page in the description where I post more political and philosophical articles. I don't do much of the self-improvement there. So if you would like to see that, please check the top link in the description, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.